There we go. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Morning.
Always
Good.
pumping us up.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Pesky video. All right, that's our sizzle videos. Everybody sizzling.
I'm sizzling.
It's supposed to be like bacon in the morning, I think.
It kind of is.
I think after 4 years, it's losing its effect slightly.
Don't ask the bacon.
No. Well, maybe we'll request a new sizzle video from Century 21. That would be nice. I can't see anybody today. We have a lot of people here, a lot of visitors and guests. Thank you for coming.
I'm seeing them.
Yeah, they changed something on my. They changed something. So
Oh,
anyway,
they by you? Yeah.
they by Zoom.
Oh, okay.
They by Zoom. Yes. All right, let's get into it. October 16th, 2024. Let's talk real estate. I always post a what's suitable for Facebook and other things. I always post that for you, and you can just, I believe, just take it, just click on it and drag it to your desktop and send it out, post it to Facebook. So this is Veterans Day, which is next month. I think the 11th. November 11th, I want to say. So that's there. And Nick will post to Facebook. He'll post the pictures of me swabbing a deck and his brother in a submarine.
Yes, I put up my Navy family and other half pictures every year.
Right.
Yeah.
The Navy boys.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So my message today is talk about doing things in 90-day cycles, doing them by quarter. And then they feel a little more like campaigns than just daily drudgery. And the 90 days or the quarterly is really a great amount of time for a cycle like that, because it opens and it closes, and you really feel that there's a fresh start. So I really believe in quarterly goals. And to get started in that, think about developing 2 or 3 new productive habits. During a good cycle, prepare for a bad cycle. If you want to become a really strong business person over time, recognize that when things are good, when listings are selling, the business is churning along, you should spend some time preparing for a bad cycle, like squirrel putting nuts away. Some examples are pay off debt, save money. And what I always say about wintertime is develop 2 or 3 new productive habits. Winter's a good time to study. Develop some stronger sales skills. Right now, things are still really solid in most of the country. But some parts of the country are changing a bit. And we certainly know what's happening here on the West Coast and Pacific Northwest. So if you really want to get good, look at improving your own skills. And what I said by that. All right, understand what motivates you the most. And real estate people are really motivated in 3 ways. You're motivated by recognition, prestige, or by security, having a retirement plan and paying the bills, or by money, which is, to do fun things and to do good things for others and to give it away. So those are the 3 primary motivators of people. If you want to become a great business person, understand what motivates you the most. And which of those are you most motivated by? So think about that. Of course, there's no wrong answer to that, but it's good to know. And good people are still coming in. Let me just zoom this in a touch. There we go. Understand that your greatest asset and your greatest liability is being an independent contractor. That makes no sense. So what do we mean by that? Your greatest asset As your greatest asset, nobody's putting a cap on your income, are they? You can open end your income. Nobody's dictating exactly how you spend your day. Nobody's telling you when you can take time off or time on. Nobody's telling you how to run your business. I'm just suggesting you don't have to do a thing that I say. How is it your greatest liability? If you're not focusing on learning skills, if you won't accept an organized presentation is what you should be taking into a house, if you won't manage yourself in regards to discipline to get your schedule right, your daily schedule, then you're actually losing money by being independent. So think about those two things. It goes both ways. You have to pay for the benefits. You get to do what you want when you want, but you have to do it. And then finally, attitude. One of the key parts of building a business. How is your attitude towards the market adjustments? The things that are happening right now, the disruptions, the NAR. How's your attitude towards the NAR changes that have happened this year? How's your attitude to the fourth quarter, which is different than the other quarters? How's your overall attitude about growing your sales business? Attitude is such a fundamental part of becoming a great business person. So do you need to put your attitude in check? Do you need an attitude adjustment? Do you need to just maintain the great attitude that you have? And my attitude, especially about these NAR changes and disruptors in the market, I have a great attitude about that. They don't mean anything to me. At Century 21 and at North Star, we do what we do. We've been doing it a very long time. We've got our business down. So we go into this with great confidence. So let's take advantage of the new year, what's continuing to be a strong real estate market. Remember, treat your business like a business. All right. Thanks for coming. And so let's start by reviewing our recent production statistics. Oh, no, that's not how I wanted to start. I wanted to start with our guest, Aidan Donahue, with, what was that? Director's Mortgage. Yeah. Aidan, can you hear me?
You bet, John. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead and tell us what you have.
Happy to do it. Yeah, good morning, Century 21 North Star. Thanks again to John and Nick for inviting me to be a part of your Wednesday meeting. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, as he mentioned, I am a longtime local lender here at Director's Mortgage. And my goal this morning is to impart at least one simple and critical piece of information and inspiration that has a positive impact on your business, your clients, and you. So over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you about some fresh strategies, some recent changes to some loan programs, and a few other tactics that I know you can find useful in this ever-changing and always challenging real estate market. So let's get started. I'm going to just touch a little bit on all of these topics because each one of them could easily be a whole hour. Hope to once again just give you something you can take away with. Might be time for a few questions, but certainly you guys will have my contact info and you shouldn't hesitate to reach out after this with any more questions. Now, John, am I going to be able to share my screen? Or am I not allowed to do that? Someone else is sharing. Replace current share.
Yeah, let me get that right now.
You bet. Here, I think I got it.
Oh,
I think I got it. Can you guys see that? Oh,
yep.
What did I do?
We're in.
Okay, you're in. So, okay. Bridge loans. Once again, this could easily be an hour, but I'm sure most of you or all of you have at least heard of bridge loans. I'm not sure if any of you have used them, but we are finding them to be a very valuable strategy in certain situations. In real basic terms, and are probably most common use of one of these bridge loans is allowing a client to have the ability to reach into their current residence and tap the equity for down payment on a brand new home. This allows us to make a non-contingent offer. Bridge loans don't require an appraisal. They generally close in about 9 to 12 days. Here are the caveats. It is a 6-month term. It is interest-only payments, and it's a typical about a 2% origination charge. That's because we all know the client's not intending to hold this, because after you've bought the new house, now you can turn around, really put that listing together and crush that. And once that home sells, they'll be able to pay off that bridge loan. And we have a lot of our clients who never even make one payment on the bridge loan. They're just paying that upfront fee. And then it's, you know, it's essentially like a cash offer in certain circumstances. So if you're in a competitive situation, using one of these, you can not only offer a faster close time, but you might even be able to come in a little bit under the asking price, because it's such a quick close. It's essentially like a cash offer. So once again, there's a couple different types of these bridge loans, but they all serve the same purpose, which is, for a very common phrase we use in our society, robbing Peter to pay Paul. So that's the concept of a bridge loan.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to get to the next slide. And that is, let's see which one I've got here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. What did I, how to, okay. How to use multi-unit properties. Okay, everybody knows how tough it is out there right now for everybody. There's just not a lot of inventory. One of our biggest challenges from a lender's side of the table is we have a client who's got good credit, a good job, and they've even got some money saved up. But with rates being where they are, and maybe they've got something like some student loans in forbearance, or they just had to buy a new car and they've got a higher car payment than they've ever had. And suddenly you realize, man, we're banging our head up against a limit where, you know, our client's only qualifying for, say, 400,000, and it's very difficult to find them a property that meets all their needs. How do you solve that? One of the strategies we've been using is using income from either an alternate dwelling unit, an ADU, or an actual separate unit, whether you have a duplex, a triplex, or a quadplex. So this little scenario is something that we just went through with one of my clients about 3 months ago. We have been looking for a long time, and we were just banging our head against the brick wall that we couldn't find any homes. Anything we did find was way too far out or way too dilapidated. We were trying to strategize, and he was, you know, single guy in his mid-50s, just got divorced. And I said, how do you feel about being landlord? He was like, oh, sounds fine with me. So here's the scenario. Originally, he said, just the single unit, please. So he was looking to buy a single family home, and he was pre-approved for a conventional loan with the following parameters: up to a $400,000 loan amount, and his total monthly payment couldn't exceed $33.81. He had 40 grand for funds for closing, and going with 5% down and approximately 12 grand in closing costs, he was looking at about $33,000 to the table. Now, as I mentioned, we were having a very hard time finding properties that met his needs with that purchase price. So I said, what do you think about taking it up a level and adding a unit? So scenario 2, I'll take an additional dwelling unit this time, thank you. So this time we found a home with an ADU. Someone had converted the basement into an ADU. It was worth $520,000. The ADU rented out for $1,500 a month and already had a tenant in it. So using the guidelines, we're allowed to use 75% of that expected rent, which added an additional $1,125 in income for our client, which suddenly increased his buying power and his affordability, and he was able to buy the house. He had the 40 grand, and yes, it was a little bit more expensive. We have a little bit more down payment. The taxes were a little higher, so those prepaids and closing costs were a little higher, but still, we were right there at the $40,000. So here he is. He's able to buy this house, and if you can see, total monthly payment was $433.98. But then he's getting $1,500 in rent. Once you take that out, you get $28.98. $483 less in monthly payment for our client. So to review, in the second scenario, we saved him almost $500 a month, got him into a property worth $100,000 more than they had originally qualified for. And also, after living in a home for 12 months, anyone can go buy a new primary residence and claim a primary residency. You only need 12 months. So pretty incredible. And for those of you wondering, that's an increase of about 25% in commission for you real estate agents. So don't be shy about having those conversations, especially with the younger home buyers. You know, they've all had roommates. They're not used to living alone, essentially. So, you know, that could be a good way to help some young people get into some property earlier. All right, enough on the trust income. Let's move on. Let's talk about temporary rate buy downs. And you guys are probably familiar with this, but the reason I wanted to bring it up is to make sure that you and your clients understand there is a significant difference between a temporary rate buy down and a permanent rate buy down. When a client buys their rate down permanently, it's usually because they need to, or there's what I call a sweet spot in the rate sheet where they'll say, hey, we'll give you 7.5 for, you know, $200. But if you want 7, you know, it's only another $800. And we do the math and say, wow, that saves you $50 a month. You know, pretty easy to make that decision. But once you've spent the money buying a rate down permanently, it's spent. And if rates fall drastically and you go refinance that mortgage, any of the dollars spent to permanently buy down a rate go away. So very often I will encourage my clients who just want a lower payment, but they're kind of humming and hawing on what to do. So just put it in the down payment because that's real ROI. You can always refinance that mortgage and get a lower rate later. But if you put more money down, you borrow less, that saves you in the long run. So how does a temporary rate buy down work? Well, number one, it's got to be seller paid. So I think you guys are starting to see some sellers willing to give up a little now. The market is still tight. Everybody wants to sell, but it's a little harder for buyers to get in there. And with the new NAR thing, I think there's a little sensitivity around that. So if a seller is willing to offer seller credit, and I have seen a lot of listings that will say temporary rate buy down with our preferred lender, you know, the dirty secret is any lender that has this in their playbook can do it. So, you know, that said, if you have a seller willing to offer, here's how it works. You have a certain chunk of change that is used to buy down a rate temporarily, and you have different types of rate buy down terms: 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. So the most common is actually the 2-1. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you guys can see what we've done. I have a $600,000 purchase. We're putting 10% down. We have a loan amount of $540. We're on a 30-year fixed. Here is the actual rate that the client is qualifying for at the moment. With a temporary buy down, we're going to use money, and I'm going to focus on this 2-1 buy down, you guys. So that means for the first year, the interest rate is 2% lower. So that monthly payment goes from $34.57 to $27.76. Okay, a savings of $681. After 12 months, in year number 2, that teaser rate goes up 1% to 5.625. And that still saves the client $350. At year 3, it's going to go up to that original rate of 6.625. One other caveat: the client must qualify for the original rate. Otherwise, they have to use a permanent buy down to capture that. Here's why it matters, and this is the last thing I'll mention. Let's say we got a client who does the 2-1 buy down, and they enjoy that first year at 4.625. Halfway through the second year, the rates fall, and they get into the high 4s or the low 5s, or even the mid 5s. I call my client. I say, hey, great news. Rates have fallen. Right now, you're sitting there at 5.625 with this annual subsidy credit that you have left over. And so let's say if we're halfway through the year, there'd be about $2,000 left. That client can use that money for their refinance to help pay those costs. So they won't lose that seller credit that was given to them. If they end up keeping that temporary rate buy down for the whole term, obviously they're using it all up. But at any moment, I mean, 3-2-1 buy down, and 3 months later rates fall, and that client calls me and says, hey, I want to refi, they're probably going to have about $22,000 that I get to use towards their refinance. So it's a great tactic to entice buyers It's a great tactic to give sellers a little something extra to make their offer more attractive. And it's really great for that client who has told you, you know, Nick, I would buy with you today, but man, I can't live with that 6%, man. If I can't get 4 something, I'm just not going to do it. And Nick goes, really? Well, guess what? I know how to get you that 4%, at least for now. So that's how those work. Let's move on, shall we? And okay. All right. Trust income. This is another huge game changer. Trust income is used for qualifying, and the only real caveats is that there has to be enough funds in a designated account to support a 3-year continuance. So I'll tell you what, I'll just bang through this with you. How to use trust income for qualifying. Conventional guidelines allow trust income to be used for qualifying purposes with the following criteria. The trust funds must be able to support 3 years of continuous income. The grantee or recipient of the trust funds cannot be the grantor, okay? And the grantor cannot be on the loan, because that would technically be one of the grantees. There must be a singular bank account of some kind that is designated as the trust account. You pay a real estate attorney or a trust attorney approximately about $1,000 to get this set up. It takes a week or less. It's really quickly. We've even done a few rush ones in 24 hours. But you have to have one distribution that the underwriter can see going into the client's bank account before closing. So here's how it works. Here's the scenario I just had last month. My client had rental income from a home that he lost in a legal battle. And mid-contract, he suddenly needed to come up with an additional $1,270 per month. Now he's a full-time job. There wasn't any other co-borrowers to add on. So thankfully, he had some extra funds. We gave them to a relative. She went and got a trust fund set up as, I think it was his aunt, as the grantor, made our client the grantee. And if you take $47,000 and divide it by 37, you get $1,270. So we were able to cure the income deficiency that we had and help our client close that loan. This is also for those clients similar to my first scenario that are hitting their head against a affordability wall that, man, I just can't work any more hours. I can't pay off any more debts without losing some aspect of my financial situation. But if there is a way to even sometimes not even a lot of money, if we need another, $100 a month, that, that's a pretty small trust account. You might want now to pay $1,000 to set that up. But the other advantage, these can be used in conjunction with standard trusts. So if you have that baby boomer client and they're ready to, wind down and retire, and they're moving their finances around, and oh yeah, I was thinking of setting up a family trust. Hey, great. While you're at it, why don't you set up Junior with a little trust account so that we can use that for income? And so that's really the main things I wanted to talk about were bridge loans, temporary rate buy downs, how to use multi-unit properties to increase buying power, and also how to use trust income. So I think that's a little enough for me. I've got a few other things, but
we're probably going to have some questions. I have a question.
Go ahead, brother.
On multi-unit, you mentioned an ADU. What else can you get? Can you get duplex, triplex?
You bet. Yeah. And so to be very clear, you guys, a duplex, triplex, and quadplex are considered single-family homes with multi-units. Okay. If you have a home that, for example, like my client did, where the basement got converted into an ADU, they're gonna have their own separate meter, they're gonna have their own separate address, and legally it is one property with 2 units. Or you actually have a little, convert the garage into an ADU. There are the standalone ADUs, the small little, looks like a really, really fancy tool shed that was built in the backyard. So yes, John, any of those. You cannot, however, just say, yeah, I've got some roommates. and not have a separate unit.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, there's only one caveat, and it's very hard to make this happen. You have to have a first-time home buyer using either the Home Ready or Home Possible first-time home buyer programs. They have to have a roommate with them that they can prove is paying part of that living expense. And when they go buy the new house, that roommate has to move in with them. Then we can qualify that person on what's called border income. But I'm telling you, that is like, so, I mean, I've never done it. I've seen it, and I've worked with clients where we had considered it and got them pre-approved. It just never went through. Otherwise, John, you're looking at an actual separate unit or designated separations with different meters and different addresses.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, Aiden.
Yes, sir.
This is Mario Gomez. Regarding the bridge loan and the equity, how much equity can be used to put down?
That is an excellent question, Mario. It is 75% of the home value minus whatever the remaining balance is on the mortgage. So if you have a $400,000 house that's completely paid off, you can get up to 300. If you had a $400,000 house that still had 100 grand left, 75% of the 400 is still 300, but then we got to take away that first mortgage of 100, and that leaves the client with 200,000.
So then the actual fee to do that
Would be $4,000.
2%.
2%, correct. 2%.
Thank you.
And so, you know, in some situations, we've actually saved our clients tens of thousands of dollars, even though they went with one of these bridge loans, because they were able to essentially make what was to the seller a cash offer. So we closed in, 10 days with no appraisal. So they were able to offer 20 grand less, 30 grand less. And yes, they paid that 4,000, 5,000, or let's say they borrowed, $500,000. They're paying 10 grand in cost. But if they just saved $30,000 in their offer, they're still coming out ahead.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. Well, Aiden, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
I'll
My
send
pleasure.
everybody your contact information. And where are you? Lake Oswego, Cruise Way. Easy to
bet.
find.
Right down the street, you guys. I'm licensed in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho and Arizona. But
Okay.
certainly Oregon, Washington. So thanks again, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Well, let me see what I'm going to do. Let me pull my screen back up and we'll get to how's the market. That's important. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Just wanted the screen back up. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Oh,
sir.
great. All right. All right. Here's the blog for today. And let's get into the market. All right. Now, Kung Lee, manager of Portland, is out of town. I usually ask him for a summary of what's happening. I didn't see any closings in the last few days. How are things in Washington?
Well, I can tell you something about Oregon.
Tell me something. You do.
Nice.
You know a little about Oregon.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us.
Yeah. So Lena and I put our medical building in escrow during the weekend. I think it actually happened. So that's great. So we have both of our commercial buildings in escrow right now. And then Washington, there's a lot hanging in there. Like there's a whole bunch of them about ready to close. I had a listing go on the market last Thursday, and we had an open house on Sunday. And I am glad to tell you that that was the best open house that I've ever had. There was so many people. I was tired at the end of that 2-hour time. That there was just a lot of people coming through, a lot of interest. The house is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-story, and just really close to the Vancouver Mall, really close to this office here. It has 2,044 square feet, beautiful backyard. So it did get a lot of interest. It's still active. And so if it's active here in the next couple of days, I'll probably have another open house because it just really went so well.
That's wonderful. I just want to savor this I told you so moment.
Yes, you did tell me so. And I even got a buyer,
Oh, God.
which it's never happened to me before, probably.
Okay.
But I actually got a buyer, and I think that's what happens is the person I'm teaming up with, the lender, has really been helping me get the clients to work with me, because she'll talk about me, I'll talk about her, and instead of having to do it ourselves, it really worked well. So that is a great thing. So, and then
And what
I
did you
think,
do? How did you market this open house?
well, I put it in both MLSs. I put it in the Century 21 system. And I asked everybody as they came in if they saw the signs, because I put my balloons out and all that stuff. It has some good street visibility, but everybody saw it on Zillow, Redfin, those kinds of places where they look for the open houses. So it just, I think that's how it went through the system. And I didn't pay for anything. I didn't, I did do a mail out I did a blast through my Moxie Engage to all of the neighbors. And I did get every neighbor, I think, in there. That was kind of
Okay.
it kind of took away from of the people that were really there to buy, but it worked out really well. So
Hey,
I was super,
you never
super
know what
pleased.
you're going to get from neighbors. You
No.
never know. That's long term. You want to do that in a neighborhood you really like to work in. Send it to as many people as you can.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you never know. I could end up with another listing from this open house too. So we'll see
Right.
how that works.
That's right.
And Barb Peterson had a closing, I think, yesterday.
Oh,
So I just got notified of that. It's kind of a whirlwind right now. There's just a lot happening. So that's all I can report. But next week we'll probably have some more closings to report, is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot on the market.
Excellent.
You know, there's a lot of inventory with us. So
Is this your house here on 54th?
Yes.
nice.
Let's have a look at that real quick.
Nice suburban home.
You went
Clark
a lot on the drones, but it has a very
Well,
nice roof, so nothing to
So
hide.
listen, this is funny because Century 21, I just throw all the photos on there because it doesn't get looked at as much as the other sites. But I put it in there so that it was the front photo, the kitchen, and then the backyard and the first three. And so I didn't have to redo any of my Moxie stuff that came to me. I could just post it right from there.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right. Very nice. Oh, that's cute.
They've redone it.
Yeah.
It's well done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
they bought that as a foreclosure.
Oh, is that right?
And they put a new roof, new siding, new bathrooms, new kitchen.
Okay.
So they did well.
Very good. Mario, how are we doing in Idaho?
We're doing great. Lee is closing on her Boise listing on Friday, and Jeff is closing on one of his listings on Thursday. We currently have 8 listings to date, so we'll have about 6 by the end of the week. And
Okay.
then I'm working with a client. We're about to make an offer. He's for about 300 or so on a property that is in Payette.
Okay. And here is Cleveland. Well, I think we looked at this. It had been, yeah, it's a fixed up.
I
from the
believe
1920s.
that's our new agent, Annie.
That's
is
right.
home,
Yeah, that's an adorable house.
which is her home.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's really cute. We saw it last week too, I think.
Okay.
It is super cute though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Good work. What do we have? 32 listings. That's down a little bit, but 32 listings is good. We have something to sell. There's a shortage of inventory right now, so we need those things.
Right. When we have 2 buyer side closed in Portland with Tyler and I
That's
think
right.
So there's a few things coming up this tomorrow and the next day, I think.
Tyler, yeah, just sold $800,000 house.
Mhm.
I gave him a high five for that.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, do you know, has Kuhn got another lunch and learn scheduled yet?
I'm not sure whether he has it fully booked yet. I know he's communicating with a few people to finalize, I believe is where we are.
Well, let's call him. He's in Hawaii and he said he'd
You'll
be
love that.
available. He'd be available to us. And let's just put that to the test.
You
Let's
know,
put on speakerphone right now.
I will tell you, he was like, I'm not bringing my laptop. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And he's texted me 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, he's
got the mail.
emailed me.
And I'm like, why are you texting me? It's just fine.
All right. All right. Sean, are you putting something together?
I haven't got it lined up quite yet, but I'll have an announcement next week, I hope.
Okay. It's a
And
little tough
Kuhn will-
this time of year, but I think we should get one more in for
Oh,
everybody.
yeah, one more at least in November, December, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think maybe we'll just do a holiday party or something.
Sure.
instead.
Anything scheduled for Caldwell yet? As far as another one?
Not yet. I'm still working on that.
Okay, I think we get one more in. Very good. And Coos Bay? All right, Coos Bay, we're going to be having a grand opening for Coos Bay. And as soon as the signs are up, they move a little slower at the Oregon coast, which is understandable. So I've had the sign people working on that for 2 months, and we're gonna get a sign on the office. And we got about 10 agents down there, and we're really excited about that. We took over. They merged with us about 2 months ago. Okay. You want to be the great agent that knows so well about the market that you can explain it to your clients without them dozing off. So 6.32, we use the Freddie Mac measure. Mortgage rates had the largest week over week increase since last April. Yeah, it bumped up a little bit. However, they remain nearly a full percentage point lower than this year's high of 722. Freddie Mac economist says higher rates will pose challenges for prospective buyers. The underlying strength of the U.S. economy should continue to support the recovery of the housing market. That sounds cheerful. I would repeat that to clients. And there's the graphic. Again, grab the graph, just click on it, drag it to your desktop, send it to everybody you think would find that interesting, that we're at 6.32. 5.41 for those people fortunate enough to be able to do that.
And better yet, to explain to them what that means for their monthly payment.
That's right. That's right.
Even more details needed. So come to us.
Even more.
Mhm.
Even more.
Mhm.
All right. Our house is affordable, sort of. Sort of. So the affordability index in the RMLS, in the Northwest RMLS today, 94.3. That means you can buy 94% of the median family can buy 94% of the median house, which means you can't get the master closet or something like that. You got to buy one without a master bedroom closet. I don't know what it means. It means you get a little bit house than the median house, which is, did it say here? It says 422 for this. So I think this is the entire RMLS.
That's relatively optimistic. I mean, 94%. We're almost at 100% of the house.
Where you can get the whole house. Yeah, but look at some of the past. You want the number as high as possible for the buyers. You know, you want to get, here's 1.5 houses back in 2021. 1.5 median houses. So it means people can move up if they're more affordable.
Well, you know, if you have a teenager, just charge them a little rent.
That's it. That's it.
Problem solved. That's why we're here.
Yeah. I know what Aiden's going to say about the teenager paying rent.
Well, no. Actually, I was just going to say what's a little stunning if you look at that graph, guys.
Yeah.
In the year 2021, you only needed to make $58,000 a year to buy a $357,000 house. Now the house is, $70 grand more, and you need double the income.
Isn't
Well,
that amazing?
that's the real deal right there, folks. Yeah.
That's right. That's the
Yeah, that's
challenge.
the scary part. I remember $100,000 used to be a lot of money, and now it's required to buy a house. That's amazing.
The incomes have to catch up to what people are paying. And I think our Treasure Valley, Boise, Idaho office and Caldwell are going to see that even more than this city because they are just recently
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
That's new to Idaho to see those kind of house prices.
Mm.
Okay. All right, the absorption rate. The absorption rate is a fancy word for what kind of market is this? Buyer's market, seller's market. So we have 3.5 months of inventory in the Portland Metro, and that indicates a balanced market between a seller's market and a buyer's market. And the chart tells the whole story. Another chart that you can show your clients, just drag it onto your desktop. So we're at 3.5. That's moving into a balanced market, but you see it's still heavily on the seller side as far as who it's favoring. So it's almost a seller's market. It's certainly not a buyer's market yet. There's not enough inventory. All right. And just real quick, I wanted to bring this to your attention. The National Association of Realtors, their economist report today is on Hispanic ownership rates. And we just got back from a conference at Century 21 in New Jersey, the global headquarters of Anywhere Brands, which owns Century 21 and Coldwell Banker and a lot of really great established old brands. And Nick, what was the statistic? They said 25% of all real estate sales in the United States went through that building.
Oh, yes. So Anywhere Real Estate in suburban New Jersey is home to many of the famous brands. 26% of America's real estate transactions through that building.
26 of the entire country. And I wish I had the statistic, but it just reminded me it's a very high statistic. The majority of Hispanic transactions go through Century 21. I thought that's
Yes.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, they gave us all kinds of statistics. Beautiful campus, and I think 3 20-year-olds on laptops just working away.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So real quick, we're going to limit whenever we bring you a report from The Economist, we'll just read a paragraph. So Hispanic Americans are not only the largest and fastest growing minority in the U.S., but also the fastest growing demographic of home buyers in the U.S.
Yep.
Over the past decade, the Hispanic community has been driving homeownership growth faster than any other demographic group. In 2023, although their homeownership rate slightly fell from the year before due to the higher mortgage rates, the Hispanic homeowner rate was 5.8% higher than a decade ago. So specifically, the Hispanic homeownership rate rose to 51% in 2023 compared to 45% in 2013. So,
Yep.
all right. So that's good news.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Home
excellent.
ownership and equity.
Yes. Yes. All right. I have these, and these, you can drag these to your desktop too. These are the market highlights from the RMLS in Portland. And just real quick, we got in the Portland Metro, 51 days is our time on the market. That's probably the primary reason we're shifting from a seller's market over into the neutral and over on the buyer side. There's more time to kick the tires. You don't have to get up at 5 a.m, call your realtor and write $100,000 over asking price and then get rejected. If anybody remembers that, you got 51 days now to buy a house. All right, that's the most normal I've seen in 30 years. So I'm very happy about a little normalization after what we've been through. And the median sales price, $550, 1.7% up, but that's a 12-month rolling average. It's been higher than that. And so that's not bad either. And the same thing, this is Southwest Washington, Clark County and Vancouver, 65 days on the market, even better for buyers. But look at the price, 590, up 10%. That's 12-month rolling average.
Wow, that went up a lot in a week.
Yes.
Clark County is going up rapidly. Yeah.
That's
It
great.
is.
That's great. Okay, and Coos Bay, if you want to go relax, a little bit different time frame there. You got 109 days to buy a house. They're sitting on the market for 109 days. And a lot of people's second home, vacation rental, down 14%, 272.5 is the median price.
Pending sales are up,
Yes.
so they're kind of beefing up. But yeah, you can just
That's
watch
good.
waves. Watch the waves.
Yeah. Very good. All right. And the Boise area, and this is Canyon County, which is the west side of the Treasure Valley, which is where the Caldwell office is. And what have we got? Do I have that same thing? Yeah, 52 days in the market. That's excellent. And a median sales price of $424.
Up 2%.
Up
the
2%.
fastest growing western suburbs.
Yeah. Okay. And so we're running out of time, but I do want Shauna to remind us, where are my notes here? What did I forget to say? 21-day challenge, October 28th.
Yeah, Lena and I are doing it. Whoop, whoop.
Just you and Lena. I was hoping by now, we're getting close to the 28th, that we'd have more people. So it's really nice. So tell us about that. You hadn't done it before.
No, but I mean, I've looked it over, but what it's going to be is I believe it's going to be a half hour from 7 a.m. to 7:30, starting on the 28th through 21 days from that time. So it goes into October, through the end of November. So this is a way to set up your, like you talked about last week, the beginning of next year. If you're not working right now, trying to get stuff going, you're not going to have anything. I've had it happen to me, so I know. If I go to Arizona for the last couple of months of the year, it just tends to really ruin the big first quarter. So that won't be happening this year. I'm going to be working all the way through to the end, very, very end. So,
all right.
Yep.
Excellent.
Can I also remind everybody, when you are writing your descriptions and your stuff on the RMLS, they changed the rule. You cannot use any dollar sign. You cannot put any amounts. You can't use percentages. So make sure you're very careful to take anything like that out. If you have it in there, you can put verbiage in there about like seller will help with concessions, but you can't put how much. You can't put the dollar. So make sure everybody does that. Everybody needs to get their code of ethics done. The 2-year term is ending in December 31st. So make sure you get your code of ethics in as well.
Okay.
I just wanted to remind everybody because I keep
Absolutely
forgetting to do that.
Very important.
All right. Very good. Consider the 21-day challenge. Again, it's like I was talking about. It's a campaign style. You don't have to just nag yourself every day to prospect. You can do it in beginning and end time frames, which I think is really effective. All right.
And you compete. It's fun.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And when Kuhn gets back, we'll see if there's some Oregon agents involved in that. I didn't get a chance to ask him.
Okay. Okay. And the Tuesday broker tours, those are going really well. Keep that up, Nick. And we're trying to get more people on those.
Yeah. It ebbs and flows, but overall it's been gaining attendees and reputation.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ed.
Yeah, you bet.
This is our time. No, this is our century. Our gold shines bright. Because this is a network unlike any other. 135,000 affiliated agents across 84 countries and territories in almost every Spanish-speaking country in the world. This is the most recognized name in real estate, the most respected brand in the industry. That has a nice ring to it. The leader in brand awareness 25 years in a row. This is earning accolades. More accolades. and more. Okay, that's a lot. This is making an impression. Over 27 billion of them. This is showing up big. Here, here, and all across here. Oh, and not just for clients, for the community. We're lifting up others with us. This is not resting on a legacy. This is running on it. Taking all that's been learned and seen and taught and dreamed over the past 50 years to shape and fuel the next 100. Century 21. This is our century.